The recipe for confidence. All of you watch your mom and they get out the recipe. My wife had the hardest time. My mother was a great cook, as you can tell by as fat as I am, and raising 6 boys. And my wife wanted to learn how to make, oh, my mom could make the best coconut pie you'd ever eaten. And so my wife, being a loving wife, she said, I want to learn how to make that coconut pie. His mom would say, well, you put a little bit of sugar in it, and you put a little bit of milk, and you put a dash of this, and she didn't have any set measurement items. Well, here's the recipe for confidence. And this is real specific. The recipe for confidence is 1 part self-respect. You want to be confident? The first thing you've got to do is develop self-respect. Look at Ben Hooper and Victor Serebriakov. When their self-respect improved, so did their confidence. Ben Hooper's self-respect improved when that preacher told him, it don't matter where you've been, son. You're a child of God. It don't matter who your daddy is. You're a child of God. You're expected great things. God didn't make no mistakes. You should be successful. Within every human being is a thing called a success instinct. In a squirrel, they'll gather nuts in the summer for a winter they've never experienced, called success instinct. Maxwell Maltz discovered it. Every human being has a success instinct. If you're not successful, it's because you're either trying too hard or you've listened to other people. The recipe for success is developing self-respect. The recipe for confidence is develop self-respect. How do you develop self-respect? If you miss that lesson, it's real simple. You never quit. They give you 10 math problems, do all 10. You say you're going to jog 3 miles, jog 3 miles. You don't ever quit. The minute you quit anything, the thing that's destroyed is self-respect. They say the number 1 problem with divorced people is their self-respect. They quit. And so they lose their self-respect. 1 part self-respect for confidence and 1 part preparation. Being well prepared means being confident. Study and prepare to take a test and you'll be confident even if you stumble on the first few questions. If you have studied hard and you have prepared for that test and you go in and the first few questions are pretty difficult, you're still going to say, I got it. I got it. May have to come back to these 2, but I got it. Bill Walsh became a legend in football coaching by turning the San Francisco 49ers from the very worst team in the NFL, to winning 5 Super Bowl championships. Walsh had one theory: practice the game. Prepare for every situation. They scripted the first 10 plays of the game in order to begin the game with the best chance for success. Think about that. He scripted the first 10 plays. They spent an enormous amount of time, he and his coaches, determining what would be the best 10 plays to determine what they needed to do the rest of the game. And then they went out and practiced it. When they went out on the field on Sunday, they didn't need to look over the sideline and see what the first play of the game was. I went to a state championship football game. And the first play of the game, they ran a quick pitch. And the quarterback turned and pitched the ball to the wrong side. The other team recovered the ball and went down and scored, and all of a sudden they're down 7-0. I talked to the coach after the game, just not being critical, just asking him, did y'all work on your first play? No, we didn't. I didn't know what we were going to do that first play until we got there, and then I decided that we'd run that quick pitch on the first play. How much confidence do you think they had in that play? Well, if you go out there and you work on that play the first day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you go out there Friday night, you got success. And if the game begins with you being successful, how much better? They kept a statistic of how many times that Walsh and the 49ers scored the first time they had the ball. It was phenomenal. The year that we won state at Judson, 9 games in a row. Of course, we learned it from Walsh. I didn't come up with it. 9 games in a row, we scored the first time we had the football. Think that's important? You start ahead. What does that do for confidence? What does it do for hope for the future? There goes the hope for the future up, which increases the power in the present. If you spend 36 weeks with me and you say, I only learned one thing, only one thing I learned that whole 36 weeks, all those lessons, 108 stories, there's only one thing I learned. If there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. If you learn that, you will be a success. If there's hope in the future, there's power in the present. Walsh practiced every situation. They had a 2-point play. They had a 2-minute offense. They had a 4-minute offense. And they didn't just have it, they practiced it. They would go out there and say, okay, we got to have 2 points to win the game. Here's what we're going to do. Is that amazing? Well, I'll tell you a negative example. I was at another football game, not coaching, and the team had to have 2 points to win the game. They got a delay of game penalty. They didn't have any timeouts left. In trying to decide what they were going to do, they got a delay of game penalty, which meant they were now trying for 2 from the 8-yard line. A little bit tougher. A little bit tougher. You see, when Walsh says you practice the game, think about it. They put the ball on the 10-yard line and they say, okay, we got 1st and goal. Now, when they go out there on Friday night and the ball's on the 10-yard line, we've been there, we've done this. Or on defense, the other team's got the ball on the 1-yard line, 99 yards away from the end zone, and they say, if we get them in this situation, here's what we're going to do. You practice the game. Now, how does it carry over to your life? Well, it's the same thing. You practice the game. Put yourself in every situation that you could have. What do you think von Steuben did when he took over the Continental Army and did the basic training for them? He put them in every situation they could be in and showed them they could be successful. So when they went out and fought the British, what did they have? Confidence. How do you build confidence? Preparation. Because of his relentless preparation and attention to detail, they were the most confident team in football. Many of his assistant coaches became successful head coaches. Mike Holmgren, John Gruden, to just name 2. Mike McCarthy. You can do to increase your quality of confidence, increase your self-respect by never quitting, and spend your time preparing for situations. Question number 1, what do you need to prepare for? Have you got a test coming up? Prepare for it. If you've got to give a sales talk, what gives you confidence if you're a salesman? is the ability, you know your sales talk inside out, upside down. One thing they taught us when I was 18 years old, they taught us when you went into a house and they had the TV on, you needed to get that TV turned off. So what you would do, you didn't want to say, hey, turn the TV off so y'all can listen to me. You would say something real low that they couldn't hear it, and you'd laugh. What did he say? Turn that TV off, Well, they prepared you for every situation that could come up. Everything that could come up when you knocked on the door and they asked if you were a Jehovah Witness, Mormon, whatever it might be. You had an answer. You were prepared for anything that came up. So what did you have? You had confidence you were going to sell the book. They prepared you for every situation. What do you got to do? Prepare yourself for every situation. Either in the classroom or with Margaret Ann or in athletics or with your family. Prepare for every situation. Make it a great day.